तो भुवनेश्वर चलछि इंडिया एंड द इंडियन ओशन शीर्षक अंतर्जातीय सम्मेलन आज होउछि यार उद्यापन दिवस सीधा सड़क आपनको सेठाको नै
maritime security threats, most significantly terrorism and piracy, which keeping commercial shipping, maritime installations and critical infrastructure safe. Process is involved in switching over to renewable energy should be considered on a priority. The Indian Ocean region occupies a central position in the global strategic landscape. The changing security environment of the IOR reflects the interrelated geographical dynamics of the different regional subsystems comprising the continental maritime interface defining the Indian Ocean rim. This encompasses an interregional strategic landscape spanning the rim perimeter from the Africa and West Asia littoral and hinterland of the Western Ocean into the eastern rim extending to the Indian Pacific. An understanding of the integrative geopolitical dynamics between the Indian Ocean and the Western Pacific is critical in addressing the strategic future of Asia's maritime space. The rapid growing interface between the Indian Ocean and the Western Pacific underscores the need for an inherent Indo-Pacific framework. India has pivotal role and responsibility in this regard along with other regional countries. Relations between seas and human beings is very complex. Calamity, disaster, and regulations of human behavior for preventing these needs attained. Though there is no central narrative on geopolitics, however, institutional cooperation may facilitate the process. Maritime dispute pose challenges to stability and peace, but a legal and technical approach may be reliable for resolution of maritime disputes. SAR and disaster relief may be addressed through strengthening on institutions. Cooperation among IONs and IOR should be considered. In the context of terrorism and transnational crime, Bay of Bengal sub-region needs special attention and time-bound action plan for cooperation has to be placed. For nations in the region to facilitate maritime commerce and economic activities at sea, ensuring security and protection of maritime dominance comes as an essential prerequisite which calls for effective coordination between regional and extra-regional players at the sub-regional, regional and multilateral levels. Given the need for greater economic viability in terms of mobilizing resources from the IOR and enhancing financial credibility of grouping, a regular summit level dialogue is required. This is primarily because all regional stakeholders can pitch in their capacities whilst a common cooperative framework is formulated for greater economic cooperation and prosperity in the IOR. The Trade and Investment Committees of IOR may consider a subcommittee on non-tariff barriers, as NTBs have emerged as major areas of concern. Policies related to FDI and technology transfer need to revisit it in the context of regional cooperation. Measures are required for promoting greenfield investment. For IOR, in an open regional framework, trade facilitation becomes key to B2B contacts. Doing business index can be developed for countries in the region with retaining individual country specificities. To establish an IOR Chamber of Commerce and industry to be based at IOR's Secretariat until a permanent home is found. Science, technology and support for small and medium enterprise should be given due recognition for advancement of blue economy, which is getting major priority in the IOR related deliberations. Policymakers may identify key areas like regional value chain, parts and components, and other mechanisms for promotion of regional integration. Special and differential treatments need to be provided for small, less, and least developed countries. With trade in knowledge-intensive goods and services is gradually expanding, the region needs to work out a comprehensive strategy for intellectual property rights, for which a joint committee on science and technology transfer may be considered. IOR Special Fund should be established to support key sectoral cooperation projects. IOR is a biodiversity-rich region. Institutional measures may be involved for sustainable utilization and in accordance with the global agreements like Nagoya Protocol. This should involve conservation and utilization of medicinal plants. Energy security, especially inventory stockpiling of crude oil as an inventory intervention may be explored, whereby India and other countries may share technological strength for storage of hydrocarbon. An IOR regional bank should be studied. New areas of sectoral cooperation also need further study. Greater linkages amongst IOR countries and different sectors with an action plan need to be evolved. The SPRs plan to be created under phase 2 storage program should also be taken up on priority.
His recent visit to Mauritius, Seychelles and Sri Lanka has strengthened this. In fact, Prime Minister of Mauritius was also invited to the swearing ceremony of new government, where only head of the governments of SAARC countries were invited. In the inaugural session, I had stressed on the focusing on regional cooperation on 3 aspects: cooperation in the area of disaster management, as the region is prone to such calamities; enhancing cultural and heritage linkage among the Indian Ocean rim countries, and promoting tourism and people-to-people contact with specific activities like developing Buddhist circuit; skill development by the exchanging best practices of each others and developing regional skill development centers. After going through the 3-day experience, I have confidence to be more ambitious and emphasis on working for the 4th area, that is the stronger cooperation in economic and areas of trade. The whole region has the potential to emerge as an economic powerhouse and springboard with the intense economic and energy and trade activities. I will repeat that India is prepared to play a leading role in this context in the affairs of the Indian Ocean region for the larger benefit of all countries in our region. Friends, today we have the Bhubaneswar Declaration. I am congratulating the organizer of this convention to have a declaration in place like Bhubaneswar. There is a mention regarding some strategic relation. Being the oil minister of the India, let me assure you, your declaration will certainly guide all the RIM countries, especially India. There is area you have mentioned about strategic reservoir for hydrocarbon products. I am happy to inform you, friends, India is now going to fill its first strategic reservoir in nearby state Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. We have some trade relationship with Mozambique. I am going to Mozambique to have our relation in a newer height. Government of India is planning to put its second phase strategic reservoir. Fortunately, Government of India is planning to begin its second phase strategic reservoir from Odisha. This is a historical moment. This convention, this recommendation will strengthen our belief to have our energy security to a newer height. Friends, before I give you thanks, let me put one of my requests. Now time has come to think about a new chapter of IORA. Can we think, can we resolve? Let IORA, time has come, IORA should think about a satellite office in India. This can be a good initiative, this can be a good gesture for the IORA countries to extend its activities. Friends, with these words, I thank everyone who has participated in the event in the last 3 days. I hope ISCS and RIS will continue their efforts in this direction. Again, I beg apology on behalf of organizer if anything left out, if any inconvenience come to your convention, let me beg apology. I am thanking from core of my heart all of you again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those very inspiring words. Indeed, the history of our state is rich with examples of the rich tradition and culture and the relationships that the people of the state share with the seas and especially with the countries neighboring the Indian Ocean. In this note, it is indeed a very apt thing for the conference to have had its first session here in the temple city of Bhubaneswar. With this, may I now invite Shri Manohar Parrikar, the Honorable Minister of Defence, Government of India, to please come up and present his valedictory address. So please.
Dada.
They will take and make it. Honorable His Excellency Mr. S.C. Jamir, Governor of Orissa. I was about to say Goa. I was Chief Minister when His Excellency became Governor of Goa. And there are two reasons why the word Goa came to me. The moment I landed, I realized this place is absolutely like my own hometown, nothing different. That was double confirmed by the food I had. In fact, this is a wrong time to be here. In V Goa, call it siesta or sushegad, half an hour after lunch. I had nice prawns and lot of other fish. So let me, all the dignitaries on the dais, those who are present for the conference, I hope you are attentive enough to listen to me. The International Conference on India and the Indian Ocean, renewing the maritime trade and civilization linkage, has taken place at right time and right place. If you contextualize the timing of the conference,
It has taken place at a time when government is seriously and purposefully pursuing an act of foreign policy which includes Act East and Look East. Our Prime Minister Modi ji recently had a tour of 3 nations. I think these are indication of importance the new government at Delhi gives to the various players in Indian Ocean region. I congratulate the organizer for having done this exercise and for the Bhubaneswar declaration. In fact, I would have loved that declaration coming after my speech because it took away a lot of points I was going to make. I have a very funny experience sometime as a speaker. If you go for a political speech and make a speech before an audience, and during election time we are required to do 5-6 speeches. I always find one trouble because being a Chief Minister of the state, I was always the last to speak. Here, luckily, I am second last. The problem was the other leaders who accompany you, they listen to your speech at the first place. And when they listen to your speech, in the next second program, they start using all the points you have raised during your speech. I have sometimes very funny experience also. I have a fan circle who moves with me from one location to other location. You can always see them in the front, and sometimes we have to even go for 8 public meetings like this. And this group of about 10-15 in that area would come to every program, sit in front, occupy the front seats, and if you tell a joke, you can't tell 10 different jokes at 10 different meetings, they would start laughing even before you started. This is danger in a political speech of repetition. But in conferences like this, where you are required to speak last, it helps because the people before you make various points and that gives you a lot of material to speak on. I had an experience of lawyers coming to Goa, top constitutional lawyers all came to Goa, a lot of judges also of the Supreme Court had come to Goa. This was in 2003 when I was Chief Minister of the state. And the issue was Advocates Act. Obviously, I am not an advocate, I am an engineer. So I had to take points from my Advocate General what to speak. He gave me 2 pages of written points, well drafted. Unluckily for me, before me the speaker who was there was no less than the best lawyer of the country, Fali Nariman. He virtually took every point which was on my paper sheet and elaborated it like a Supreme Court lawyer he is. And I was getting nervous after every sentence of his because one by one the points were disappearing. I was left with nothing. So I had to welcome the guests for having come to Goa, told them of course you enjoy Goa. Goa is beyond a seminar, doing some sort of a campaigning for tourism department. And then one point struck me. I told them there is one thing both of us love, and that is bar. You love bar of a different kind. In Goa there are number of bars are averaging 1 per 100 of the population. You can go anytime. You will not get food, but you are sure to get the right alcohol. Obviously, I was saying it in a very lighter mood. But next day, hundreds of advocates came to my house in a morcha demonstrating and proving my point. I congratulate the organizers for having done this exercise, and I think they should treat it as beginning, not the end. It's very important, Indian Ocean region, Indian Ocean rim countries. This area is very important. It has almost, I think, 56 or 57% of the world reserves in oil. It has about 40-45% of gas reserves of the declared assets. We don't know about things which have not been found so far. It's very rich in oil, gas. It almost carries 2/3 of the trade in oil. Every liter of oil going to China moves through this region. Coming to India obviously moves through this region. It has almost more than 50% of the container traffic and probably about 1/3 of the cargo traffic which moves. And India is located in a position which is very crucial. The kings whose names we recognize, they always understood the importance of sea, whether it is Shivaji Maharaj, Chandragupta Maurya. In fact, the word navy, I think, came from a Navy school he initiated. And the port of dry dock in India could be located to Lothal in Gujarat also. Indus Valley civilization, you will find signs of docks and shipbuilding. So India knew its importance of sea very long back. In between somewhere we lost the track, and the countries which had good naval power, strength, like Spain, Portugal, Britain, UK, they ultimately control the globe. You can understand the importance of sea on these aspects alone. And what is the reason why you should, not only because of trade, but why you should have a strong presence. And I'll mention here, India's strength lies in non-violence. But I believe the non-violence can be dictated by people who are strong. There's a saying in Sanskrit, we respect everyone, every regional player, we respect and treat them equal. But it is very important for India to achieve that strength, because there is a saying in Sanskrit which says, obviously I don't have good enough control on Sanskrit, but I will translate it for you, that it is always a goat who is sacrificed at the altar of Yajna, not a lion. You don't sacrifice lion, because if you try to sacrifice him, he will eat you away. So a strong person can dictate peace. But this peace is required for trade. Many times we only look at ocean as a surface. We have to remember, if I tell you that 95% of your genetic material comes from fish, many of you might not agree or feel like that they will develop fins here. But it does. Of course, the effective 2-3%, that makes the difference. But the life started in ocean, a point which we need to recognize. If it was not oceans, the life would never have started. But economy of an ocean does not depend on the surface of it, not only on the trade. Economy of the ocean also has to be within the ocean right up to the floor. Most of the ocean floor is flooded with nodules of rich minerals, and we have not exploited them. We only think that the fish is the only thing we can eat from the ocean. And the amount of research and energy which has gone for development of space, I think ocean requires attention today. And it is not only for getting oil out, but I'll tell you one very fundamental principle of non-renewable source of energy, that can be ocean. In fact, today if the climate balance has been kept in spite of our pouring in so much of carbon in the atmosphere, it's because of ocean which absorb much of the energy and reduces temperature to a particular level. If you go down, the temperature levels changes, you can exploit that for generating power. There is already trials going on. Economically, ocean can be a enricher and generate enough, but it can be destroyer also. So we need to have an communication with all the countries how to get rid over cyclones like Hudhud or many other cyclones. That knowledge needs also to be shared with us. And India is one country which is in position to do it. India's coastline is almost like a necklace, giving it that importance in the Indian Ocean. I feel that we should initiate, and the organizers can initiate this aspect of creating a group of Indian Ocean rim countries. This small group is very important initiative. You can create a grid, you can have a team together which will share data, which will share information, assist each other, because today's threats are not traditional threats. Non-traditional threats also are coming in. The pirates of Somalia, when being neutralized by the various navies, including India's, are shifting their location towards India. So you need a navy which is blue in color. There is not a reason I am wearing blue. But I think we need strength, we need cooperation, and therefore I propose that the organizers take lead in forming an group which will, a platform, common platform for Indian Ocean rim countries, a common grid which will take place. One very important aspect of this grid, when I said necklace, we always see the outer part of the necklace. We don't realize that necklace is brought together by a thread which ties it together. One of the strongest aspects in this coming together will be the cultural and ancient ties these countries have with each other. And that is one aspect which I was going through the declaration, which has been stressed by the declaration. I hope the organizers take this forward. Whatever help from our side can be given forward. It was the right place for selecting a strategic place which I consider as rich in heritage, and I think that will be the thread for this necklace you need to develop, with India being at a focal point. Thank you very much.
Bali Sugri.